Okay, happy day, everybody. Happy day. There's a 20-second lag still. I can't figure out going live.
We're going. It's going.
Going. Happy day, everybody. Happy day. Welcome to Misfit Sanctuary channel, Topic Tuesday. My name is Jessica. I am what am I? I'm a metaphysical spiritual life counselor and theta healer and BQH practitioner, which is spiritual fancy ways to do hypnosis and past life regressions. And we're joined with my lovely, wonderful friend, Joey.
Hello, hello, hello.
Also an Akashic Records, not also, she is an Akashic Records reader and an amazing spiritual woman, my dear friend. And I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm trying to pop out my channel real quick. So let's get this started so that I can, okay, we're being live streamed. Yeah. Getting this fun stuff out of the way. Betsy, are you here? Hi, happy day. I can't tell, like, let me know. I always get confused if this is last week's. No, this is today. Hi, Betsy. I am not very good at technology, guys.
Did you just get lost in time? Is that what happened?
I couldn't tell if because Betsy had posted hi Jess and Joey, and I wasn't sure if I was looking at, because sometimes last week's pop out channel will be, I get confused. But anyway, hi Betsy, hi everybody. So today I'm super excited to talk about what we're going to be talking about, which is spirit guides, spiritual attachments, spiritual cleansings, how to communicate with your spirit guides, and all of that fun stuff. So if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the chat so we can chat about it. Let's talk about it. Hey, Melinda. Yay. Crew's in the house.
I love that you said, well, we're going to talk about witches, and I heard we're going to talk about witches. That's great. This is good.
Shit.
Exactly.
So we figured that's a good topic for the month of October, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any really good ghost stories? Do you have any of your own? I have lots of experience and stories.
Well, what's your most creepy one to tell, or just most shocking one?
I think
you told us about the haunted house in the haunted house.
Well, I have a bunch. I think my most creepy one, oh gosh, there's really two that stand out. The first one was when we lived in the haunted house in Frederick, Maryland, and I kept telling my mom that the house was haunted, and she would tell me no, that I was just, delirious or whatever. And I apologize if you can hear background noise. But so my friend and I at the time, we were really into Rob Zombie, which was devil worshiping music. And so that was our rebellion, was to listen to this music. And now I look back on it and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that I listened to that. No wonder why I had such a hard time. So my friend Alicia and I were jumping on the bed listening to Thunder Kiss 65, and suddenly the CD player started to play backwards, and we're jumping on the bed and we're singing, and I mean, we're 14, 13, between 12 and 14. And we were jumping and we're like, what, that's weird. And so I get down and I open the CD player and like, remember how we had to like clean the CD?
Yeah.
I put it back in, I start
People clean it up.
Yeah, you gotta clean it up, you gotta wipe all the scratches or wipe all the smudges and stuff off. Even though I don't know why I thought that would make it go backwards.
Right.
We weren't believing that we heard it go backwards. We were just like, oh, it's skipping, it's messing up, right? So I do all that stuff. I start playing it. We're jumping on the bed. Jumping on the bed. It stops, plays backwards, and very clearly in like a demonic voice goes, Jessica. And we both like stop and like grab each other and we're like, ah! And we run outside, run out of the room, run downstairs. And as we're running out the door, my mom is coming in and we're like, ah, and she said she did, she was like, oh, you girls are so silly. And in the same house, this house was so haunted. In the same house, my bedroom was upstairs and my mom and her boyfriend's bedroom was downstairs. And I was terrified in this house all of the time, especially upstairs by myself. And so I was going to bed one night, the door was shut and it opens. And I'm like, oh. So I close it, get in bed. I feel the energy, shifting. And the door opens. And I was like, oh my God. So I close it again. Lock it this time. Get back in bed. I'm like, covers up to here. I'm like, all right. The door slams open so hard that it hits my desk behind the door. And my computer monitor, which at this time was huge, right? Like back then, monitors were as big as TVs. Yeah. Falls on the floor. And I'm freaking out. Run outside. Hi, Property Solutions. Welcome. I run outside and not outside. I run downstairs to my mom. I'm like, Mom, and she's just like, no. It wasn't until we were moving out of the house that my mom admitted that the house, she knew the house was haunted too. And I was like, wow. Why would you not like tell me that you were also having experiences? And she was just like, well, I thought I thought if I told you, you'd be more scared. And I was like, no, you just taught me to like deny myself.
Right. I could have figured it out, but now I just felt crazy.
I just feel crazy. That, and then the other story is, and I told this in my story time one time. Okay. The house, there was a haunted house, and it's kind of a long story. I don't know. But
I remember this one that you all you went in it, right?
I almost went in it. So a long story short, we came across this like haunted house and it was super creepy. There were 3 different houses. It's a whole thing. Maybe I'll just make like a story time of this story because it's pretty long. But right when I was getting ready to walk into the house, I was on the edge and I felt frozen. And I was looking in front of me, and it was like in Frederick, Maryland, there's all these really old like houses from the Civil War because everything is protected, historically. So you like they can't just tear down, even if it's in rubble, you can't just go tear it down. And so this house had been there for, a century or whatever. I don't know how long ago that was, but a long time ago. And so I walk in and I'm looking around and like my eyes are adjusting and I'm seeing everything looks really gray because it has, 50 years of dust, 100 years of dust or whatever. And I was like scanning and I'm like, I remember being like, oh, wow, those bottles are so cool. I'm going to take those bottles because they were the old, jugs. Yeah. Looking and being like, wow, they left everything as it was. It was like something they just got out and everything was left like someone would live there. And so I'm scanning the room and then in front of me was the hearth of the home, the giant fireplace, like biggest fireplace I've ever seen in my life. And then I'm looking ahead, and as I'm looking ahead, these red eyes that were like shaped like teardrops to the side,
Dang.
slowly coming at me. And I remember feeling terrified, but also feeling like I couldn't move. And so I I end up like not moving. And then my friend Leona comes and stands, and I could tell like she was screaming at me, but I was in this crazy trance, so it was like really muffled, and it wasn't enough to like break me out of it. And then she looks and she sees what I'm looking at. She screams hysterically, like grabs me, breaks me out of the thing. We start running. We're running away. At the time I was Catholic, so I start saying my Hail Marys and my Our Fathers and all of the prayers I can think of. And then suddenly I felt like this pull to turn around and look. And so we were at the back of the building now, running away. And I look, and there's this like figure, this, very voluptuous Black woman, looked like she had been maybe the cook, and definitely from slave times. And she had the, bonnet on, and she had the white apron on, and I could very clearly see her. And she was like waving this white kerchief. And I remember feeling this like intense sadness wash over me of just like I felt like I was leaving somebody stuck, is like what it felt like. So
Dang.
right away, my friends and I never speak of it again because we were so scared. Then a few years later, I'm like 16, 17, my friends and I are hanging out. And this is the scariest part. As scary as that was, this part is the scariest. So my friends and I were hanging out and we're talking about scary stuff, as often comes up with teenage groups, especially in, a town where there's Harper's Ferry, all this haunted stuff. Like there's so much haunted stuff up in this area. Battle of Gettysburg happened, just a few, well, Battle of Gettysburg marched through the town that I lived in, but Gettysburg, Pennsylvania was like a half an hour away. So the field, that's another scary place to be. But anyway, so I was like, oh, you guys want something scary? I got a place that I can take you. And so I take them to this place. The two boys that we were hanging out, they were too scared. They wouldn't get out. So they sat in the trunk, sat in the trunk, sat in the truck. We stuffed them in the trunk. They didn't, they were too scared to go. So they couldn't come. Yeah. And so you have to walk across this field from the road, and by this time they had padlocks on everything, no trespassing signs, and we were just hoodlums. So we were like, whatever, let's go through the cellar. So we go, and I pull the doors for the cellar, and an alarm goes off. So we're laughing and running, and we're laughing and running away, laughing and running away. And then I realized that my friend's not with me. And I turn around and I look. There were no overhanging trees. There was no fence. There was nothing to hurt yourself on. She didn't pull, like there was nothing that could have hurt her. I look back around. She's got blood just running down her face, and she's like stunned. And I'm like, just happened? Like what? Come, wow, wow, and she's just like, shock, like in shock. And I'm like, what happened? What did you? And she was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And we had to take her to the hospital. She had to get stitches in her, like right here.
Right.
And the doctors were like, what happened? And we were like, oh, we were climbing a fence. We were trying to sneak out, and we were climbing a fence, and she slipped and fell and cut herself on the wire. And this is back in the 90s. So they were like, okay. And didn't do anything like that.
As long as you weren't trespassing.
Yeah. And I really do feel like it affected me. I feel like I picked up some entities all throughout my experience, I've been able to communicate with spirits since I was, the first time I remember, I was probably like 8, and it was my cousin who had passed away. So I do feel like I had I had this ability to work with spirit. And then when I started, when I was like 22, 23, I started to really realize, like, oh, this is something I can do. I can go into houses and communicate with spirits and tell people what's in
Yes.
the house. And so for a short period of time, I was doing that. And I feel like, again, I picked up some yucky
Uh,
stuff, and my life was rough for a while. And then
Damn.
when I did a hex removal and a curse removal, because my family also thought that we were all cursed, because the whole family, it was enough had gone on for us to sit around and start going, maybe we're cursed, like maybe something is going on. So I did a curse removal, and that's when I really started to heal. That's when my life started to shift around. So I believe that I went quite a while with some entities I dealt with. And when we're dealing with attachments, people don't realize, this is what I want people to know. Everyone has attachments.
Yeah.
Every single person, we get attachments, touching objects,
Yeah.
stores or thrift stores. Good Lord, please cleanse yourself after you leave a thrift store.
I love thrift storing too. It's one of my favorite things in the entire world. I
Yeah,
love going to old houses. The creepier, the better sometimes, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't. I wish there was a part of me that didn't know how dangerous it was to do that, because I know Lucas is in that. Lucas and Micah are in that, like, spooky, scary kind of thing. You know, they like all the spooky stuff, and I would love to, like, take them. I'm like, oh, you want to go on a ghost tour? Like, I'll take you on a real ghost tour.
Stuff.
Yeah, we just went to Halloween Horror Nights. Did you see the video?
I saw that was hilarious. You were so dang cute. Basically, I couldn't. So at first I was like, well, she's obviously miserable. That is not the scream of the house. And then you'd giggle and I'm like, oh, okay, she's okay, she's okay. And then you'd scream bloody murder. Oh, nope, she's not, that can't be the happy scream. That's not a happy scream. Like,
I know that they're actors, but I feel, I was like, he's got a chainsaw. He's gonna murder me for real in front of everybody. Like,
the sound of the chainsaw is so, like, it just affects you. There's an effect from it, especially if somebody's chasing you with it.
it's so scary. If you want to see the video that we're talking about, you can go to my Instagram, which is misfit.sanctuary, or I have a TikTok, and you can, I think it's the last one that I posted, but I get really scared. I get a really good scare.
Your scream was amazing. Amazing. Like, really, like, if I didn't know it was you, I would think it was like one of the sound effects. Like, you were hired to do this screaming.
So scary. I thought if I was recording that kind of like not bother me, but I think it was the opposite. They saw I was recording, so they wanted to give me a show.
Absolutely.
I have to say, I'm really proud of myself, because I went I went in 1998 to Halloween Horror Nights Orlando. And listen, man, I've lived like real scary shit. So I was dealing with CPTSD and anxiety, and like I had been attacked. So being in those kinds of environments, like, even though I know it's all play, there's still a part of me that feels like it.
Yeah.
I guess I get triggered, I get triggered, and I can laugh about it, and I can, have fun with it, but my nervous system still is like, get out.
You're
And
experiencing the experience. Yeah.
yeah. So I didn't think I would be able to really go, because in 1998, when I went the first time, um, I was pretty embarrassed about the way that I had responded. We were walking through a haunted house and someone jumped out behind me, and
Oh,
I I panicked, just like something else took over. I grabbed the girl's hair in front of me and like pulled her down, trampled over her and whoever else had fallen with her, run out, and then a guy jumps out at the end with a chainsaw and I kick him in the, you know, gonads and whole ass. And I felt so bad because I don't know if I hurt that girl. I mean, I trampled her ass. So I felt like I shouldn't put myself in these situations because something else takes over and I'm not safe, right? Like I'm the one that's not safe to be around because of my
because you're reacting.
right.
Yeah.
So I was really nervous. The boys wanted to go and they wanted me, I wanted to be a part of the experience with them. It was their first time. I wanted to experience, and so my original plan was to just stand in line with them for 100 minutes
Oh God.
each ride. Like this is, or not ride, but like house. The worst part of it was, first of all, it rained and we had no covering or anything like that. But the lines were, you spent a majority of the time waiting in lines and place to sit, but on the ground, and the ground was wet and whatever. We made the best of it. We had a good time anyway. Thankfully it wasn't like cold. So it was fine. But the lines are so dang long. And so I was planning on just, I'm going to stand in line with my family. And then when they get to go in, I'm just going to go around and wait for them on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized the only way out was either going back through the entire line of like, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, going the opposite way. Sorry, I'm a chicken shit. I can't walk through, or going into it. So the first time we went in, well, every house we went into, Carlos was in front of me and I had my face buried in his shoulder blades and gripping his ribs for dear life.
Yes.
And just not looking and, still screaming and trying to use him as my shield. And, but after I went through the first one, I was like, okay, as long as I don't look, I think I can get through it. And so we went through the Yeti, we went through Last of Us, which was really
cool.
We went through this classic monster one, which was, I think, the best. And then we went through a Stranger Things one.
Ooh.
It was so good. That was the best set. And then I think we went through one more. I can't remember. And then I rode the Transformer ride, which was super cool. It's a 4D experience. And it was super, super cool. We had a great time. But I definitely screamed a lot. My throat was sore.
It sounds totally worth it though, because there's so much. Like even just seeing like the Stranger Things or like all of those sound so amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be worth it just for that. I don't love being like, screamed at or chased with a chainsaw. Don't love that shit at all. So like I have like mixed feelings about haunted houses and that kind of stuff, because sometimes the production work and just like, the visual value and all that is just so beautiful and fascinating. I love monsters and that kind of stuff. Totally. Especially classic ones. Holy crap. Yeah. Or like Stranger Things kind of stuff. Oh, anyway, they all sound amazing. But, I just don't love just going through a dark place where you can't see a damn thing.
Yeah.
And, bumped into and screamed at or just loud noises and bright lights. Like, that's not, to me, that's not fun. And so I have definite mixed feelings. And I tend to find that, they love to get a reaction out of you. And I don't want to give them one. So I will like fully just get stoic and kind of disassociate, but like get kind of mean, and I'm like, basically, I'm like, well, did I just pay you to like piss me off, basically. Like, what's happening? Yeah. So it's just trying to figure out where the good ones are, you know?
Yeah, it's a experience. I kept saying, like, you guys realize, like, we've paid $95 each person to walk around and have like the shit scared out of us. So,
Yes.
like, why do we do this? What, the adrenaline rush, the excitement, I guess, I don't know. It was worth it to go because it was the boys' first time. I don't know that I will go again. They have scare zones, and like the video that I posted on social media where I got scared, that was a scare zone, and you kind of know where the scare zones are because they have like fog going. They're not allowed to touch you, so that's good. They did have one scare zone that was really, I think, awesome. It was hippie vampires, and they were just like being like hippies, and then every once in a while they'd be like, rah.
Cool.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, so I like that. It was worth it, but yeah, my
Vampires ever. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. And part of me wondered, what are the implications of participating in something like this? Because there are things that are like, for example, the Ouija board,
Mhm.
where we're doing things like Bloody Mary or Candyman in the mirror, these things that are advertised as toys
Yep.
or fun or anything like that. And we don't realize that we're opening ourselves up for attachments.
Absolutely.
And so part of me really had thought, like, am I opening myself up for some sort of attachment by going and participating in this? Am I agreeing on some level? But like, so far everything's been good. I cleansed, my energy and protected my energy and all of that stuff. I haven't had any problems yet, but like, people don't realize how easy it really is to get attachments even without doing the Ouija.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like we were saying earlier, just going to a thrift store, just walking around, even also one of the attachments that I had for years, since I was 5, we learned this in a past life regression session, that I had pain, and I had this wild, I would call it a headache, but it was the whole upper quadrant of my body. So I would get, anytime I looked at screens, or even not screens, like sometimes it would come out of nowhere, I would get these crazy headaches, and I couldn't describe what they were. And I had all kinds of MRIs done, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And it would like affect this whole side of my body and down under here, to the point where I was in bed for 9 months, literally couldn't get out of bed, drapes drawn, eyes covered, couldn't move. When I got this headache, it was so bad, it affected my blood pressure. So I would have to like crawl very slowly to the bathroom, because if I stood up, I thought my brain was going to explode.
Oh gosh.
For years, and it held me back from working. Couldn't work because I couldn't look at a screen. I couldn't do anything. And I thought it was Lyme. I thought it was all connected to Lyme disease. And then in my BQH session, in the clearing part of it, we realized and removed an entity, a little boy named Oswald, who had, he was from like 1902, and he had witnessed, he saw me watching, and I know right when this happened, and I felt something with me, but I thought it was an angel.
Oh, well.
I was 5 years old, and I was witnessing serious, I thought my mom was about to die. My dad was beating my mom, and this little boy saw that I was scared and attached to me with the intention of helping. And that's what we need to understand, is a lot of spirits can attach because they see that you need something, or they want to keep you company, or, it's not like all spirits and all attachments are purposefully causing harm. And oftentimes, as soon as that spirit realizes that they are causing harm, because they do cause harm even when they're not intending, because they're like leeches for your energy, and they'll suck in your energy. And also, whatever thoughts, beliefs, and programs that they have can blend with ours. And it can get really hard to tell the difference between what our own experience and this entity's experience. And so, or spirit's experience. And so, walking through this BQH session, I saw, and this is what's so cool about BQH, is you get to speak with these spirits and entities. And so we were speaking to Oswald, and she said, okay, take us back to the last day of your life. And I see the image in my mind of this little boy, and he's like playing on a train track, running around. He's by himself, and his foot gets stuck in the rail, and he's trying to untie his shoe, and the train comes and it hits him and demolishes that whole part of his body that I was having pain in.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so as soon as he realized that he was causing pain, he was very happy to leave, because it made him sad to realize that he was causing me pain.
Right.
And so we opened up the light, we sent him into the light. It felt like sucking snot out of my body and brain. I could feel the pressure and the energy coming up and leaving. And I have not had that migraine since. I've had no pain like that since.
You've seen those like stories and even photos they have of like ectoplasm and shit. Like it's like snot.
Yeah. That's what it felt like too. Like, and there's a part of me I'm so skeptical. So there was a part of me that I was like, I'm just making this up, because in a BQH session, it feels like you're making it up.
Yeah.
It feels like you're just saying
random. Well, especially for someone with imposter syndrome anyway, like everything feels like you're making it up.
Right. Because you're like, like, why don't it feels very silly. So I think that's like that's the challenge for people doing BQH, is that they have to be able to trust enough to just say what they're feeling. And so there was a part of me that I was like, this is so silly, I'm just making this up. But the fact that since that day, I have not had these migraines, I've been able to work, like I have my life back.
Yeah, that you have physical evidence of it, so it's been able to like bypass that skeptic part.
Right. Yeah. And then I also had so there's using theta language, there are waywards, which are earthbound spirits and spirits that are attached without the intention of causing harm. They just basically see your light and attach to it, because since they didn't cross over, they need a battery pack basically to connect to. And we are all lights of God. And so they'll see our light and go, bloop, I'm just gonna attach here and this will be fine. And then in that way, they kind of still get to be alive also, because they get to have experiences through us.
Yeah.
And so and then there's fallen energies and entities, and those are the ones that are attached with the intention of harming you. And that can be an earthbound spirit, that can be a demon or a legion, which is a group of demons. It can be like a nest of snakes. It can be all kinds of stuff, but they're purposefully trying to harm you. And so I had quite a few attachments when I did this session. And I had a really angry, mean man in my stomach. and he did not want to leave, and he got his like joy from hurting me. And so in the session, I don't remember exactly like the whole, because you are in a trance, and so it's hard to remember everything, but like we pulled them out, and I have had much greater ease digesting things. My stomach hasn't been as angry. And then the other thing that was really awesome was I had widespread, it felt like fire, like fibromyalgia type kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that ended up being a non, I think it was like a non-physical entity, which is just an entity, like a energy that has never had a body. Um,
Right.
and it was in my fascia, all of my fascia. And so we pulled that out, and I don't have the burning anymore. Uh,
Wow.
I want to take a course because with theta, so that's with BQH, right? Which is, um, most people know it as past life regression, but we're coming away from calling it past life regression
Right.
and what's like consciousness exploration, because you can go to past lives, but you can go into future lives. You can go
Yeah.
in, you can go talk to angels, you can go to the Akashic records, you can go anywhere. Um, and so that's the experience with BQH. With theta, and with BQH, the other person is telling me what they're witnessing, right? And with theta, it's me witnessing and having the experience, and I'm telling the person what I'm seeing. And so in theta, we have the ability to pull entities off and spirits off. And it's really wild. I had a session yesterday that in the digging portion, we didn't talk about the person having any issues with their teeth at all. And then in the pulling the entities off, I saw an entity coming out of the person's teeth. And afterwards, they were like, how did you, like, that was so crazy. Like, I didn't even tell you I had problems with my teeth. And I was just like, I didn't know, but that's, so I see it happening,
Yeah.
see the energy coming off, and it looks different for everybody, but a lot of people get so much relief from, doing it that way also. Um, there's various different ways to cleanse. I wanted to make sure to talk about that. So I wanted to talk about like
Oh, I
really
love that.
people understand how easy it is and that everybody has attachments. So everyone needs to be practicing proper energy hygiene. We
Mm-hmm.
are little lights, we are little battery packs. And so these energies and entities and spirits, earthbound spirits or otherwise, unless they have passed into the light, have gone through the process of seeing their own life and working out, what they've done, then they can come back and be spirit guides, which we'll
Yeah.
talk about, we'll talk about spirit guides next. But unless they do that, then they don't have the wisdom of passing into the light and everything that they learn from that. And so, you know, they can be confused and scared, and they can cause a lot of damage, and they can attach very easily. If someone has an entity, it can get on you. And so everyone has them, and it's really, really, really important that we practice proper energy hygiene. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Unless, Joey, do you have a scary story or anything that you want to share?
Nothing in particular. Not like all of mine have been basically like feelings, and I have to say, as much as I've been like, I've definitely sought out creepy things, I've also always like trusted my intuition, like no further. And
Oh,
I so yeah, that's always something I've always like, I'm like, if I've gotten that feeling, I'm like, hey, I
right,
know it's best good. Like I told you, I've had a million almost playing with a Ouija board days.
right.
Like my grandma had one in her closet every time I'd go visit. My cousins lived on the property next door. Every time I'd go visit, we'd all be like, yeah, let's go play with the Ouija board. For some reason, we just never ended up doing it.
Oh.
And of course, tons of friends. And I had 2 Ouija boards at one point. I think I only have one now. I've never like fully like got into like playing with it,
Good.
And so funny. And it's just like, and of course I knew the warnings and stuff, but still kind of curious. But once I start getting into it, I'm like, just not feeling it. So yeah, I've kind of been lucky in that way. But yeah, but I think I like this energy hygiene. I like that we bring it up a lot too, because I think it's really important for us to continue to like let it evolve and reiterate it and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and allow people to really understand the importance of it. If you are watching and you have some, scary stuff that you want to share, or experience with entities or attachment, make sure we definitely would love to read them and hear about them.
Or any energy hygiene tips too, like anything. Yeah.
What is your, I gotta adjust. What is your favorite energy hygiene?
But keep talking. I can hear.
I didn't
encourage him to go potty.
Oh, the puppy. Rose. So yeah, it's really important for everybody, every single person to understand that you are a light. You are a fractal of source energy and source power. And a lot of times, especially those of us that are here to do specific light working things, think of it like having a target on your back. And because even though it's all light, right? And even though the darkness and the light work in tandem to create what needs to be done, there is still we live in the polarity of darkness and light, and we live it, which I feel like we're hopefully getting to the end of that, and that's why we're seeing all the chaos in the world. But the goal of the darkness, in some cases, is to prevent the light from shining, right? And so if a dark entity or a dark spirit sees that you are, doing stuff and a bright shiny light, and you're aware of it, if you're not aware of it, if you're sleeping, then it's just kind of like whatever. But not to say that you can't get attachments if you're sleeping, but it's less like you have a target on your back. And so as soon as you become awake, it's kind of like, oh, we need to shut this down so that this person can't shine, essentially, right? And so it's really important, even if you feel like you are not special at all, because some people are walking around feeling like they're not special. You are so special, and that darkness wants you. And so there's so many things that you can do to protect yourself. So first of all, everybody, every morning and every night, at least, you could do it multiple times a day, but everybody, really, I want to encourage you to wake up and cleanse your energy, because you've been out of your body all night. You've been, exploring the cosmos and the universe and other universes and other dimensions, and it's possible that you can bring something back from that. So when you wake up in the morning and when you go to bed at night, you want to say, just close your eyes for a minute, and you can even do it with me now, and just repeat after me. And you're going to say, I send back all of the energy that's not mine back to where it came from, cleansed by the light, because you want to send it back better than you got it, right? So send back any energy that is not mine back to where it came from, cleansed by the light, right? And I can feel like a pooling of energy coming out. And then you want to say, I call back all of my soul fragments, my power, my energy from all time, all space, dimensions, and realities. And then you can also add past, present, and future timelines, core belief, soul level, history level, and DNA. And I know that sounds like a mouthful. When you get used to it, it becomes easy. Even if you're just sending the energy back and saying, just imagine yourself protected by the light and imagine that all your energy is coming back to you. I call back all my energy. I call back all my power. I call back my soul fragments, right? You can do something really simple like that. It can be simple or it can be, lengthy. I just am in the habit of doing it like that as a theta practitioner. And so you want to do that every morning and you want to do it every night where you send back the energy that's not yours and you call back your own energy and your own power and your own soul fragments, because we will leave pieces of our energy, right? We'll leave it with someone that's sad. If we have an argument, maybe a piece of our energy we feel like it's the illusion of having our power taken, because really nobody can take our power. We have to give it away. So it's like if our power feels taken away, again, with the attachments, and all of that stuff. So send the energy back, call your energy back. And then also in the morning, what you want to do is imagine the bubble of light around you. And something that I visualize that I really like is I put on the armor of light. And I imagine, like, if you have ever seen X-Men, how Mystique changes, like slowly, it's almost like scales. That's what I imagine, like scales of light all over my body from head to toe, just like, and then I have my armor of light, and then the bubble of light, and you're protected. You can put a pyramid of light around you if you prefer that, but putting some sort of light, being anchored by the light, so that you can walk around and have some sort of protection, right? You can also go a step further. Something else that you can do is create around the bubble of light, you can create a mirror bubble, right? And the mirror, what that does is basically when an entity comes and they see their own reflection, then they think someone's already here, right? They're not very smart. So they'll see their own reflection and they'll be like, oh, there's already a demon here. There's already an entity here. There's already a spirit here. I'm going to go find somewhere else, right? And not that you can't have multiple attachments, but it's just added benefit. And that can be as simple as, and you can do, this is also something else, like if you want to go into spaces and not be seen, right? And an example of this is, I talked about this in my session yesterday. I didn't wear masks. I had a doctor's excuse to not wear a mask. But I didn't like the hassle of like having to show it and yada, yada, yada. So when I went in without doing this technique, I'm going to show you now, I would, like, inevitably someone would see me without a mask and it would be this whole thing. And then they would try to kick me out and it was just this whole thing. And then I learned to do this, and it's just this. And you go, mirrors up, right? Mirrors up. And it puts your mirrors up around you. And every single time my family and I did that, we could walk around without being seen at all. So like if you're tired and you're feeling like be seen walking around, at the grocery store, then before you walk in, just really simple, mirrors up, and just experiment with it and see how it does. So those are some visualization and cleansing things that you can do. But there's also other tools that can help us cleanse. and I have some of them here. One of them is, this is sweetgrass, and it's a Native American tool, and it smells like sweet almonds. It's just, it smells so good, and it's similar to sage, where you're gonna burn the end, and then you go around with the smoke, and this helps banish any negative energy, and it just smells amazing. And then, of course, most of us know sage. People don't realize about sage. So sage is also a banishing thing. It clears out the energy. Mugwort is another one that clears out negative energy. I don't have that with me right now. But burning some sage, going around yourself, going around your house, I cleanse the space with love and light. I banish any negative energy. I banish any negative energy that is attached to me, and I sage my family and all of that stuff. And then there's Palo Santo.
Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah.
So there's Palo Santo, and what I just recently learned about Palo Santo is a wood, and it's what frankincense is made from. And so it's basically the oils that are in the wood is what frankincense is. And so you burn it like this, and then the smoke cleanses the air. It smells amazing.
Oh, great. I love it so much.
And what this does, it can cleanse the air. Not that it can't cleanse the air, but it does it in a kind of a different way than sage, where sage is like a banishing tool for negative energy. What this does is it brings in positivity. It brings in positive energy. So it kind of cleanses, but in a different way. It cleanses by bringing in positive. So I like to use both. I like to banish, and then I like to call in positivity. And so that's what we do with that. But also doing things like lighting white candles.
Yeah.
Also, and incense. Lighting incense will cleanse your space. Selenite. If you have selenite is an amazing tool. This is my favorite piece of selenite. I love it so much. I like massage my face with it.
Oh, it's so nice.
I rub it all over my body. It's a magnet for negative energy. And the awesome thing about selenite is it's one of the only stones that it doesn't need to be cleansed. And usually what will happen when it is like at its capacity, it'll break. Like I used my necklace that I had made was selenite, and it ended up breaking recently. So that lets me know, that it's has collected enough energy.
It was at capacity.
What?
It was at capacity.
It was at full capacity, yeah. And so I rub this over my, I don't have my tarot cards, but I will rub it around. Ooh, what do you have? Is that, what is it?
So it's smoky quartz, but it's just so dark. But the smoky quartz is another one of those that doesn't need to be cleansed.
Right. Oh, that is gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh gosh, girl, I am so obsessed with rocks. It's basically ridiculous.
It looks like black onyx, or
because it's so dark.
Or even shungite, I think. No, what am I thinking of?
Kyanite.
Kyanite.
Or black.
The one that they make arrowheads out of, and it's like
I'm thinking obsidian, which ironically, this is rainbow obsidian. No. This is a rainbow obsidian. Ooh. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Those stones and crystals, they have personalities and purposes just like you and I do. And you can code a stone to do something specific for you, but there are more stones that are appropriate for certain things. Yeah. So another one of my favorites, I'll show you. Since we're showing our stones, one, I don't know if it'll pick it up Oh,
Ooh.
oh, you can't really see it,
Ooh,
but
is it like, okay, so it's like is it a quartz
it
on, or is it like a calcite?
I honestly don't even know what this is called, but it's like, there we go. Maybe that helps. It looks like
The sparkles,
fresh.
like the tiny crystals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like fresh snow. Oh man, it's so pretty. I wish that the camera would pick it up right. Um, oh, it's so pretty. And I don't know what it is. I can't remember what it is, but it's one of my favorites. And
This is
this
one of my favorites too. This is rose quartz.
rose quartz.
Yeah. It's a big
Oh,
old,
nice.
oh gosh. Okay, since I'm showing off, I have to go get this big, beautiful thing I have.
Okay, I'll show off. This is my rose quartz.
Ooh.
It's a raw cut one. I do have uh one that's a sphere.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones for emotional healing is ruby fuchsite.
Nice. Yeah.
This is really good for ancestral trauma work.
I love that. Yeah, I love that stuff. And I love the color mix in those.
It's so pretty.
Another thing I super, super love for heart healing is aventurine. I
Yeah.
find aventurine just to be so, and it's so mellow. So
Mhm.
it's really easy to work with.
Yes. Yeah.
But this is one of my,
Is that amethyst?
it is
Wow.
like his head basically.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Fortunately, it suffered a little damage. So it's very sad, but
Cleanse your, like, do you take time to cleanse your crystals and stuff?
you
In the
know, I do it in spurts. Sometimes I'll run them underwater, and then sometimes I'll end up putting them all outside under a full moon. You know,
Yeah.
like different, yeah, just different things. Or when I'm saging, I'll just give them a little loving with the sage, or yeah. But it's
Yeah.
always in kind of spurts. Like I'll go for a while without it, and I'll be like, okay, it's time, everybody. You know, like load up, we're getting a bath.
I like to bury mine in the dirt
Yeah,
to get them, recharged. This one is a Lumerian quartz, and
that is
the
beautiful.
way you can tell a regular quartz from a Lumerian quartz is there will be a little a
I,
little parallelogram. Can you see it?
I
Now,
do.
these are good for time travel
Ah,
and
beautiful.
traversing time
Mm-hmm.
traverse
Trevor,
different timelines and dimensions and stuff like that. So I like to use this when I'm doing an in-person past life regression. Um, Hematite.
yes, I love hematite.
I immediately feel it like, oh,
I have this anklet that I wear. It's hematite.
that's such a great idea to have an anklet.
It's so good. And it's good for pain too. And then I don't know if you can tell, I almost always have stone bracelets on. So this one is hematite with some, the rock I was trying to remember earlier that I can't remember right this moment.
Black onyx or
Oh,
damn
it is, let's see if I can get any light on it. Not
city.
really. Nope.
Oh,
I'll think of it. I'll think of it. And then I have some agate
I love agate.
and snowflake obsidian and more obsidian. I really love, my ring is also snowflake obsidian.
That's a gorgeous ring.
Not neat. Let's see, where's my,
So pretty. I love chunky jewelry.
yeah, I love it. And then I tend to wear a lot of silver. I find silver really helps ground me a lot.
Yeah. I have this one experience where I was hanging out and I had taken a dose of mushrooms and I had a friend over that what they go mining, right? And they find stones and I didn't realize we were going to be sharing our stones. I would have brought it in, but he was like, "Oh, you like crystals? You like stones? Let me show you this one. It was the first one I ever mined." And he told me this whole story with it. And he was like, let me bring it to you. And he puts it in my hands and it's huge. And as soon as he puts it in my hands, I feel my soul, maybe not my soul, my spirit, my consciousness shoot up out of my body. And it was like floating around. And I was just like, whoa, like, oh my God. Like, so I can't even explain what it was like other than I totally left my body. And he saw that was having a hard time.
Mhm.
And he comes and he puts in front of me a big chunk of hematite, and then brought my spirit right back into my body, brought my consciousness right back into my body. And I was just like, whoa, oh my God, that was amazing. Like, and so I got all excited. I wanted my kids to, have to see. And so I run and I'm taking it to my kids. I'm like, hold this rock, hold this rock.
What?
They hold it and they're like, it's a nice rock, Mom. Like, and I was like, don't you feel that? Like, don't you feel that? And that is literally the day that I learned that not everybody can work with stones. Not everybody can communicate. Not everybody can hear them. And like,
or at least naturally. I mean, you could certainly learn to.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's really cool. Black tourmaline. Betsy says black tourmaline.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
And then also another thing that we can do for cleansing and clearing and
this is red amber, by the way. I can't hardly see it. This is actually amber. Red amber.
That's gorgeous.
And then it's a Herkimer diamond on top.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, can't really see it, but
I can see it. Is it wire wrapped? Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's one of my
wire wrapping. I bought all the supplies. One of my ADHD hyperfocuses was making jewelry for a while, and I wanted to learn how to wire wrap. I tried it a couple of times and sucked at it, and I was like, all right, no, I'm not doing it.
I know, that's right. You know me too. I've definitely done it a couple times, but I'm like, it wasn't as pretty as it should be, so never mind.
Oh, never mind. I'm not perfect the first time. Another thing that you can do is use copper. And I've mentioned several times my wonderful friend Shivambi. You can find him on Instagram as Copper Prince 369. And he makes amazing scalar frequency Tesla technology copper devices that will seem, it's just like, oh, whatever, it's just copper, but holy moly, does it work. And so he makes copper rings. This is my favorite copper ring, and this is awesome it helps if I get a headache. I put it on, and within 3 to 5, see, as soon as I put it on, I just feel so like, and it balances out your energy. It's 0 point energy technology. So actually in the center of this is a 0 point. And so you can use this to, balance your own energy out. I have broken up arguments by putting it at my heart and projecting love through it. The boys are on the other side of the camper, and I will project love at them and they'll stop fighting immediately. You can bust up cloud formations by pointing it up at the fake clouds and just moving it like this with the intention of busting it up, and you will see it break up. And so he has these, which I cannot recommend enough. Like, I cannot recommend enough. He's got these generators.
That's cool.
It's this center part is called an AccuVac. Like, if it didn't have the rounded edges and it was just this spiral that's the bottom is linked to the top, that's called an AccuVac. And I have an AccuVac around somewhere, but not near me. But you can use it. One side will pull energy out, and the other side, if you flip it, it will push energy in, positive energy in. So, and then an AccuVac will reach a radius of 3 miles. He also makes pyramids. He made this for me specific. This is one of his first ones that he made. It's a little dusty. Don't judge.
It's super pretty.
He made it and charged it with the frequency to fight Lyme.
Oh wow.
So I sleep now, and it definitely has helped. Definitely.
Oh, wow.
Got crystal on the bottom. It was one of his first ones, but he makes gigantic copper pyramids. I mean, the stuff that he makes is just incredible. He's so talented and such a amazing soul. I can't like I want to bring him on one day
That would
to
be so cool. I bet he has so much to say about so many things.
he is brilliant. He's just and he's like 22 years old. His birthday just passed. And he has more wisdom than like an old sage. It blows me away. It's such a blessing to know. But yeah, Copper Prince, PRINCE 369 on Instagram. Go get you some copper. He's really awesome. So yeah, so what else? What else? Oh, okay. Contacting spirit guides and talking to our spirit guides. I have to take a potty break. I'm so sorry. But so Joey,
Do you think they'll forgive us? I hope they forgive us because I have to take a potty break too.
Okay, we're gonna take a little break, guys, and sorry, but
we'll go fast.
What? Yeah.
Pretend like this isn't happening.
We'll be right back.
Already back forever because his dad came to drop him off and stuff. And all that. Yeah, I know. And then he forgot his keyboard and mouse, so he can't use his computer at all. And then he was upset about that, and his mom won't take him to go grab it. She just doesn't want to drive to go and do it. And then he's upset about that, and when he went to go open the sushi, it dropped, and all of the sushi went on the floor. So he had. Well, he left all his food too. Yeah, he left all his food. He didn't just bring sushi; he brought a bunch of. Or he was supposed to bring a bunch of more food. It's like, I'm sorry, bro.
Well, yes, I'm still on. We just had to take a potty break. Okay. Oh, we're back at the same time. Look, we're in sync.
That's pretty great. In sync with our P's and our P timing. Pressure periods aren't lined up.
I don't have that device. I don't have that equipment anymore. So, but I do still have an ovary, and I actually do think that little ovary is trying to do something.
Because cycles.
Yeah, I think it's like the little ovary that could,
Yeah.
I also wanted to recommend some rose water.
Yes.
Rose water. You can spritz it around you, and it'll raise the vibration. Anything rose will raise the vibration, and it's really good for the heart. Yeah.
And it's really good for the skin.
Yeah, I use it. I have to put. I'm having like a hypoglycemic thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have to put some food in my face. Sorry, guys.
We're human. We have to pee and eat.
I know, right? Like, whatevs.
So crazy.
Yeah. I use the rose water on my face as a toner.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things to use when my skin's not feeling great, or just out of the shower, or I'll put it on my hair a lot if I feel like I need a little moisture in my hair, or if I want to try and get my curls back. Yeah. It's good stuff.
So pretty.
Oh, thank you. It's got its own life. It's got its own personality. I often say my hair is my spirit animal.
I wish, grass is always greener on the other side, right? My hair is so stick thin, straight. I wish that I had curly hair like Carlos's hair.
Yeah, so much hair. Right? I've seen him, like in bits and pieces. Yeah.
His hair is glorious and curly.
What's even crazier is how much I used to have before my mom got sick. I lost a lot of hair when my mom was really sick. And so I've been looking back at pictures like, 4 years ago, going, dang, that was a lot of hair I had. But then, it just takes way more time to oh my God. When I was in my last years of junior high, first years of high school, I would spend an hour every day straightening this whole thing. An hour. It had to be done. And it took an hour to get it right.
Yep. I used to curl my hair and it would take like an hour. I used to spend so much time putting on makeup and doing my hair, and I'm lucky if I get mascara and blush on.
Right. Right. Yeah. I'm lucky if I get my legs all the way shaved. Oh my God. I'm like I'll, I think I'm good. And then I'll go halfway through my day and I look down and I'm like, apparently someone needs to teach me how to shave my whole leg. I just missed that whole patch.
Literally just had that happen. I was so proud of myself because I shaved my legs, and then I got out of the shower and I looked down and I'm like, I have a whole strip. Now I'm really lucky that I'm not a hairy person. I don't even really have to shave my legs. I just do it once in a while because I don't like how it feels to wear pants and have hair. My hair is very light and thin, but that's why I got my eyebrows tattooed, which I need to have done again. But like I have one strip of long hairs, and I'm just like, damn it.
So it's like, it's funny because we end up like, here, this is physical hygiene and we're just talking about spiritual hygiene. Like it's all
connected.
It's crazy. I mean, I find myself, I shower most every day, and that's mostly just because for me, the feeling of the water feels very spiritually cleansing for me. I tend to, when I'm in the water, I tend to bless the water. I feel like that really is helpful with the water going into the earth, but also with the water coming over me and, pulling off all the gunk, the spiritual, the energetic residue as well.
Well, there's that saying, cleanliness is next to godliness.
Right.
And I'm sure that has something to do with like how bathing cut down on germs, and so people lived longer, so they thought it was something with God. Like I'm sure it came from something like that. But for real though, and it's like there are things in the shower that you can do. If you visualize, the shower rinsing off, like you're saying, like it's blessing you, it's like bless the water.
Yeah. It's a really good idea. I never thought about blessing it in my toilet, but why the hell not? I mean,
yeah. Well, I just got a notification out of nowhere that says it's preparing to live stream. Have we not been live?
We're live. We've been live.
Oh yeah, so weird. I mean, like people are commenting.
Yeah,
that's weird. Yeah. But like, you can also scrub with salts.
Yeah.
Salt. Doing salt perimeter. If you want to keep your home safe, you can put salt, and if you can find black salt, that's even better. and put a whole perimeter around your house.
Yeah.
That will help keep you safe. Burning, oh, another thing you can do if you're like really dealing with some attachments and stuff is burn basil.
Yeah.
That'll help get rid of it. I always forget that one.
There's so much. And, really, you can get really into it. And it really just depends on how called you are to get really into like the details in each item and stuff. I'm always about the quick and the hacks, right?
Yeah.
I need to go fast or I'm going to lose my attention span really fast.
Yeah, a bigger attention span than others.
Like I have this meme that I posted on Instagram that says, I don't have a short attention span. You just have a short, interesting span. That works for me. But yeah, so like I'm like quick things like salt, sage, things like that are quick. I really like, when I started a new position helping my friend open up a store at one point a few years back, I found it very beneficial because we couldn't burn sage in the building. So I just went and got spray sage.
Yeah.
And it had crystals in the bottom even. It was really beautiful. I was able to just order it online with easy peasy and just spray that thing around the building, sprayed around people's faces. Just kidding, I do that. But
that's the other thing, putting crystals in your water. Now make sure that the crystals you're using are not water soluble, because something like selenite you can't put in your water, it'll break. I learned the hard way. Because I had this pretty little piece. It's a little dirty right now, but this pretty little piece, it was polished and it was like smooth and shiny. And I was putting it in my bath because when you take a bath, put your crystals, non-soluble crystals like ruby fuchsite or quartz or things like that, rose quartz, those you can put all of those in water. But I put this in, and then afterwards you can't really see it, but it's like really rough.
It's lost its polish. So it actually it's so soft that it wears away almost as if it's sand.
Yeah, that's what happened with my necklace. I'm so bummed out. I got so many compliments on that necklace. I'm gonna have to find a way to fix it and do something. But yeah.
Wire wrap it.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to wire wrap it, figure it out. It'll be a really interesting wire wrap. Maybe, I actually have a friend that does some wire wrapping, so maybe I can ask her to do it.
Absolutely.
Have the supplies, but do I have the attention span is the question. I have so many art supplies because
so many projects.
I was gonna make jewelry and sell it, and I did for a little bit, and then I'm gonna learn how to crochet, and I'm gonna learn how to knit, and I'm gonna learn how to do this, I'm gonna learn how to do that. But I'm grateful that I have it, because now that we live on the property with the homeschool co-op, I have 2 big bins of like art supplies. So, we can make some stuff. I'm so excited for the spooky stuff we're going to be making for. Cool. We're going to make some specimen jars and some, Halloween, like Dreamcatcher inspired.
Okay.
All art, and I got a bunch of little plastic skeletons. We're gonna glue butterfly wings to them and hang them around. And
cool.
Yeah, I saved a big box. We're gonna make a coffin out of it. Yeah, nice. I'm super pumped up. I'm going to be creating a post if anybody is interested in the homeschool co-op thing that I'm talking about. I'm going to be my friend Bree and I are entering into a accountability thing with each other where we're going to make a post a day. I've had a hard time being on social media. And so to help us, and she has to, so help us kind of do this, we're being accountability partners to do a post a day. And so the post that I'm going to be sharing today is the things that I've manifested for myself that maybe other people didn't want to manifest for them, but I manifested these for myself. And one of them is living on the property with the homeschool co-op, living in a camper. Like, a lot of people would be like, well, why would you want to live in a camper? I am so grateful that we live in this, that we got this camper with everything going on in the world, where I'm watching people really struggle trying to keep their houses. And,
Yeah.
you know, $2,000 for a tiny apartment and like all of that. Like, our payment is 280 something for this camper.
Wow. Yeah,
Like,
that's amazing.
yeah, and we manifested living on a property where we live with gift economy. Like,
Wow.
to be sharing some manifestation stuff. First, I'm going to share what I manifested for myself, and
That
then
sounds
I'll
awesome.
be sharing the steps of manifestation on my social media. So that's on my TikTok and my Instagram, and
Yeah.
maybe Facebook. I think I have things automatically post to my Facebook, but anyway,
Probably.
yeah, I digress. I digress. So let's talk about spirit guides, right? Now, doing Akashic record readings, do you work with spirit guides a lot?
I haven't really much. What I've noticed, and I need to sink myself back into it a lot more here soon. But what I noticed was people typically have pretty practical questions.
Yeah.
Um, and if they're not practical, then they're very big, like, what's my purpose, basically, like, so it's not usually, I haven't really gotten a chance to like meet spirit guides and things like that. Gosh, that would be really interesting to do, to look at, because you really are addressing the record keepers themselves already. So I feel like that's kind of a form of spirit guide already.
Yeah, that's what I would figure, right? Like some form. Whenever we do BQH sessions and I take people to the Akashic records, I walk them into a building, and then I, and then like their record keeper will present themselves, and then we talk to the record keeper, and it's always so interesting to see how different everyone's record keeper is, and like the personalities. Like, if I remember correctly, your record keeper it's two people, but it's one person at the same time. If I remember correctly, I can't remember. It was it was I can't really remember. It was like two people in one, masculine and feminine energy. And it was so super cool.
Nice.
And I love walking into the Akashic records with people and seeing what their Akashic records room looks like. When I go up into mine, it might look like something completely different, but also how similar everybody's Akashic records look,
Yeah.
and how cool it is. One of the things I'm going to be working on is creating meditations to take people to those places. And that's one of the things I really want to focus my YouTube channel on. But so working with spirit guides, and that's like probably one of the bigger questions that people have in sessions with me, is like they feel disconnected from their guides, or they can't hear their guides, or they don't know how to connect with their guides, or what are guides. And so everyone has a spirit team. Everybody has a spirit team, and it's usually a pretty big team, but maybe there's a few key players. And so where I get my divine information from is my soul council, is what they had said that they were called. And it's basically a team of 12 that are assigned to me to help guide me through this life and this experience that I'm in, and learning to speak with them and understand. Everybody has guides. Like, none of us are here alone.
Yep.
Most of us have not only spirit guides, but an angel team. And then we have, maybe some ancestors that have passed into the light, that have come back to be our spirit guides. My mom is one of my spirit guides now. She's with me all the time. Oh, but she's here now. She's like, I'm here now. And it's so interesting because with that situation, she is completely different as a spirit guide
Mhm.
compared to who she was in her physical body. And so much so that when she came to me after she passed, and was saying all these wonderful things to me, I didn't believe it was her. I thought it was a demon, because demons can be tricky. And I
Mhm.
was like, you are a demon telling me all the things that I've always wanted to hear, telling me you're my mom so that I'll let you in. So, no, like, get out of here. And then I ended up going to a medium. I didn't tell her anything about my mom passing or anything like that. And she's like, I have a, your mom is here. And I was like, oh yeah. And she's like, yeah, she has a message. Can I bring it through? And I was like, sure. And she starts saying all these nice, wonderful things. And I was just like, yeah, well, why didn't she come tell me herself? And the lady was like, well, she says that she's been trying, but you won't believe it's her. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
First of all, you're legit. And second of all, like, oh, because one of the things that my mom was my frenemy. And
Yeah.
one of the things we would joke about is how whenever one of us died, we were going to haunt the other one. That, like, you can't get rid of me. Even if I die, I'm still going to come back. And it was this like joke. And then it was like, well, you better, and
I'm sweet, man. Yeah.
it was really sweet. And so now she's one of my spirit guides. But the big question is, how do we communicate with our spirit guides? How do we recognize our spirit guides? And the biggest thing to remember is that working with your spirit guides is just like developing a relationship with another human being. You have to work on it. You have to
Yeah.
develop it. You have to put in energy. You have to develop trust. And
Absolutely.
it starts with little things.
Yes.
And for me, what that looked like in the beginning, when I started to receive communication like really clearly, and I was like, well, I don't know how to do this. And then I was told, well, now maybe I wasn't told, I saw it somewhere, like, well, to play little games with the
Yeah.
spirit guides, little games, and little, trusting, the guidance that you're hearing when or feeling, because not everybody can hear things, not everybody can see things, not
Yeah.
everybody can feel things. We all have our own,
Or smelling.
or smelling. Yeah. And so everybody has their own way of communicating. Mine started with feeling.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I guess it started with seeing in certain ways, but feeling mostly. And now I can see, I can hear, I get images. Oh, it's raining. And squirrel. And I get like to the point where I thought I was schizophrenic. I
Yeah.
thought well, I've flipped and now I'm absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And what they told me was trust us. And I was like, yeah, that's totally that someone demonic would say, like, yeah, trust us. And so the rule I was given was, if it's anything other than love,
Yeah.
don't listen to it. It's not us, and it's not a thought we want you to think. If it tells you to hurt yourself or hurt someone else, don't even spend time thinking about it. Just throw it out. It's not from us. And I thought, all right, I feel like that's safe. Like, that's a kind of safe thing. And so it started with very little experiences of just feeling the impulse to bring my book, my metaphysical anatomy book, right? And I would get the impulse to pull to bring it, and I'd be like, where before I had been like, why would I bring my book? That's too big of a book. I'm not going to bring it. Yada yada yada. I started to go, okay, I feel like bringing this book, so I'm going to just play with my guides and
Yeah.
my book, and it would 98% of the time turn out that I ran into somebody that had some sort of illness and they needed direction. And I was like, oh, well, I have this book. And we were able to like look at, you know, what they were going through and all kinds of that stuff. Don't look at my pillows. And don't look at them. And so over time, being able to listen and see that something really came of it. And I think I was telling you, Joey, about the one time where my guides, I was like 20 minutes away from my house already.
Right.
And I was running late. And I was just like, I got this message of like, go back to the house. Go back to the house. You have to go back to the house. And I was like, I'm arguing with them. I'm like, I'm not going back to the house. I'm already running late. And I'm like, I'm already running late. I'm not going to drive back home. I'm 20 minutes. And they're like, go back to the house, go back to the house, go back to the house. And I was just like, oh God, it wouldn't leave me alone. So I was like, fine. And it was like also an exercising in trusting, like that it was showing me my people pleasing kind of tendencies and like the obligation and the anxiety around being on time and all of that stuff. So, but I ended up going back to the house and I had left my gas stove on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
On for a while. And like, thank God I listened, you know, and then everything was fine. I ended up, you know, it ended up like, I don't remember what happened with the thing, but it ended up working out that I was running late.
Okay.
And so, you know, just, I would start recommending that if you want to work with your spirit guides, putting the intention out, saying, hey, guys, they're there.
Yeah.
I want to work with you. I want to develop a relationship with you. And so the thing is going to be to understand that not that your guides won't be able to reach you if you're in a low vibration, because they can kind of reach us at our lowest points, right?
Sure.
But it's going to be easier to hear them when you're raising your vibration, because it's kind of like the higher vibration you're in is the closer you are to them. And so not only that, but when we're in a lower vibration, it tends to be hard for us to trust ourselves. It tends to be hard to, you know, even be like aware. And then also on top of that, being present in the moment so that you can hear your guides. You know, present in the moment, if your brain is all over the place and your mind is all over the place, then it might be harder for you to discern your own thoughts from your guides. You know, I remember going years just thinking my guides were my own thoughts.
Yeah.
And then now that I develop a relationship with them, I'm like, oh, you were the one that had the good ideas. That wasn't me.
Well, and then we're also, when we're in a negative place, we're really only tuning into the negative stuff anyway. And that's not, you know, even if we hear a positive voice in the background, we're not going to be amplifying that and focusing on it, because you're, you know, we're in those places where the icky feels good, right? We're doing the icky feels good thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you're only going to be focusing on that negative, you know, frequency and vibration. And
that's when you have to use like a truck to get your attention.
For real, you know, but the thing to understand too is your guides will use all kinds of things in the world to communicate with you and contact. It's not just hearing or feeling or sensing, right? It's also understanding that the inspiration that you feel to listen to that audiobook.
Yeah, left.
Right. I'm telling you, a huge part of my awakening was social media, because my guides would show me they would put things in my face that made me go, huh, okay, or teach me new things or bring new information. And, you know, books that I read would like pop out at me. Something would like really pop out at me and I would feel inspired about something. And so And that's kind of why I am wondering what my block is about social media, because I know it was a huge part of my awakening. And so what's my hang up about it? Maybe I'm blocking myself from success. That's totally
Well,
possible.
sure, that's possible, but I also think there's like a real dichotomy with. Okay, also one of my favorite sayings is "beware the false dichotomy." But I feel like, I feel like with social media, it's like there's definitely some subversive shit,
Right.
that you expose yourself to and participate in, unfortunately. So there's definitely, I think that you're aware of that, and it's just the best way to find a way through it and around it.
Right, right. And it's such a slippery slope because
Mhm.
just as the light can use it, the darkness can also use it. And
Absolutely.
um even though it was a big part of my awakening, being on social media was also holding me back from, validating myself. It was a distraction from me actually being present in my life, building the life that I wanted. It created a lot of chaos for myself in some ways, especially when I was like trying to live my life on social media like a reality TV show so that someone would see that I needed help. And and then, I think now the thing is, well, I also feel like I was saying, the light will use it. I'm playing with it anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
I, I feel like the darkness can also use it, and I feel that I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Monsters Inc.
Oh
Have you
yeah.
ever? Okay, how they collect screams to power the city. Well, I do believe that the powers that be have learned how to harvest our energy
Mhm.
through participating with these screens. And it's like, now you're happy, now you're sad, now you're happy, now you're sad,
Yeah.
now you're crying
Yeah.
because something moved you, and now you're up, and now you're down, and now you're up. And I intuitively feel like that's kind of being fed on. And so it's like I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of that. And so then I hold myself back from participating because I also want people to be in their lives and not spending time on social media. And so here I am being a part of the problem. I've got myself all in a pickle.
There's a lot. It's really, I think you're doing a good job, because what you're doing is you're approaching it consciously. You're considering all of the layers,
Right, right.
which is really important if you're gonna, first of all, even if you're gonna go at it successfully, right? Like why waste energy if you can't do it in the way that is the best possible way for you, that works for what you're actually trying to do, you know, not
Yeah,
going
it has to work.
just haphazard.
Yeah, it's got to work for everybody involved. So that's why I've been really thinking about like the direction that I want to go for my YouTube channel. And honestly, even wondering if I want to work on building particularly YouTube. I am looking at some other platforms like Rumble,
Okay. Yeah.
because like I had someone say yesterday like how much these videos like really help and doing this, and I was like, well, YouTube is kind of not promoting my stuff at all. Like back when I was posting silly vlog stuff, I was getting, a lot more views, and now I'm getting 15. There's and I know I'm not a big YouTube artist, but I've been on here for quite a while, so I should have a little bit more reach. And I just feel like they're kind of capping me. So I've been thinking about, do I want to invest time in YouTube?
Yeah. Finding something that's a little more, well, a little less censorship for one.
Right. Yeah, like not being terrified of dropping the F bomb. you know, not that I need to be dropping F-bombs all the time, but still, like, I've been demonetized because I am available for monetization, but I've been demonetized several times. They kind of ground you for a while where you can't be monetized because, you know, I said the F word more than once in a video, you know, and also what I talk about. Like, I do feel like on here I do have to be careful about what I talk about. I do feel like there's a certain amount, like you said, censorship. Um, and this fear of punishment that I could put all of this energy into building this channel and making videos for it and all like that, just to have it shut down or not promoted or something like that, you know.
I mean, I totally understand that. Why would you want to put a whole bunch of energy into building this particular platform when there's probably something that's more sustainable?
Right. And also going over to, say, Rumble, or other ones, like, they're building. So I feel like I'm on YouTube, I'm a small fish in a freaking ocean. With Rumble, maybe I'm just a small fish in a bigger pond, you know?
Yeah.
I mean? So I think about that. I thought, because I do plan on recording some meditation videos for my YouTube channel and stuff. And I have thought, like, well, I'll just start posting in both areas.
Yeah.
And just see, you know,
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. That's something that I want to explore, but you know, because how is it being used by not only the light but the dark forces, and being conscious and aware of that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel like, I mean, we would be silly to think a larger company has not been
corrupted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least approached to be that, you know, to be corrupted, which
I know I made during COVID, I made a video that shared the metaphysical properties of what COVID was.
Probably shouldn't even say that word, by the way.
Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't even say that word. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. So, you know, the vid, and they striked my video.
Yeah.
And it wasn't giving any kind of like advice. It was just explaining the metaphysical properties of the symptoms that were coming with that situation, like lung, you know, and talking about grief. Oh no, and then I made a video about GMO humans.
Oh,
yeah, and they strike that video. So I can't really share what I want to be sharing. So
is there any other platforms you've considered other than Rumble, or is Rumble really just the main one you've looked at?
I haven't looked at them at all. I've basically heard about Rumble through Russell Brand. I know that's what he uses.
Yeah.
And Tucker Carlson is on Rumble. So, baby, do you need this? No. Okay. So yeah, I would love if you're watching this, like, you know, Betsy and Melinda, I'd love to hear your thoughts on, you know, would you follow us over?
Yeah. Or do you have any other suggestions? Do you know of any other platforms? Do you have any information? I mean, anybody, please. Like, this is, you know, unfortunately, we can't. It's nice to try and think we could just Google the information, but let's be honest, all that's going to pop up is advertisements. So if y'all have any information or firsthand experience, or, you know, just advice, especially if anybody's, you know, experienced making videos on these other platforms, heck, please let us know. You know, how'd it go? How'd you do it? How, you know, how easy is it? What's the most user-friendly, knowing you need something user-friendly?
There is, I want to say Vimeo.
Yeah, Vimeo.
And I like on there because, you know, you can make videos free to watch, but you can also put like a charge to watch some videos. I think that's a nice option to have, you know. yeah, I'm curious. I'd be really curious to find out if anybody has any other. Melinda said I would follow you anywhere. Move people. Wait, most people do move over to Rumble. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Melinda, I love you. Thank you so much.
Sweet.
That makes me feel so good. You're like us. You really like us. Uh, yeah, so just looking at that, thinking about that.
I don't blame you.
Okay, so is there anything else to cover?
Let's see.
I want to also just real quick talk about words, right? Like
Yeah.
let's talk about real quick, what do you do if you are in the middle of being attacked? I have this experience where we were living in this house that had a spirit in it. I'm pretty sure some really dark person was in this one. It was so crazy. It was a 3-bedroom house and we moved into it and all of us knew not to go in this one bedroom. Like as soon as you walked into it, you just felt darkness, like something so evil was in that room that I didn't even, when my kids were like, I don't want to go in there. I was like, okay, like
Don't do it then.
we won't use that room. That'll be a storage room. And, at that time we were co-sleeping still. I was a single mom at that point. So
Yeah.
They just slept with me. And so I was in my bedroom and the boys were sleeping next to me and I was doing my studies and in comes this floaty, the easiest way to explain it is like a Dementor from like Harry Potter, not their shadowy, floaty, tattered kind of dark figure, no face, right? And it floats in and it comes in and I'm sitting and I see it coming my way and I immediately start saying I'm just sitting and the boys are next to me, so I'm not wanting to wake them up or scare them or anything, and so I start saying you're not welcome here, you don't have consent to be here, I command you to leave, in the name of light, I command you to leave, and it was not leaving. And then it started to choke, like I felt choked. It was still far away, but it was choking me from saying anything. And this can happen, right? And so I was like realizing I'm like fighting for my life at this point. And I stand up on the bed and I'm like having to scream at it. And there are high vibration words, right? And so whether you are a Christian or not or whatever, the word Christ is a high vibration light word, right? And so you can call in the Christ energy or the Christed energy. And I just remember I was screaming I command you to leave in the name of Christ and the blood shed on Calvary Hill, which is Christ's blood that was shed on Calvary Hill where he died, in the name of God, in the name of light, in the name of all things holy, and just in the name of love, just screaming at it, and using high vibration words. And it ended up going away. And I remember dropping to the bed and then the boys woke up and they were like, what's wrong, mama? And I was just like, how the heck did you not hear me? I was screaming. I remember I was screaming so hard my veins were popping out of my neck, screaming. And so when you're under attack, understand that you might have to really stand in your power, because the moment, and that's really the biggest thing of all of it, is realizing if you're out of your power, you are a target.
Right.
And if they think that you think they are a higher authority, then they can mess with you. But if you know that you're a higher authority, then they can't do anything. But you may have to really like
Right.
stand in it like
Yourself big like you would with like
a
a
bear.
bear or something. Yeah. But energetically.
Yes, exactly. And don't, for what, like, as soon as you feel scared, as soon as you know that you're scared and you're, oh, I gotta get, like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's I think that's might be the scariest, is like realizing in these moments, like, I'm scared, and if I'm scared, then I'm out of my power. And so the inner struggle that can happen to stay in your power even though you're scared, like, that's courage, you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and then of course, like, say, as soon as it left, I like saged, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. So Jesus is another high vibration word. Call on Jesus, like, whether you're Christian or not.
Mm-hmm.
Call on the goddesses,
Yeah.
you can
I
call
tend to find archangels come in really handy at that point.
on Archangel Michael, because he's the protector, he's the one that battles all of them. You can call on Goddess Hecate, because she's the goddess of the underworld, so she can get things right. Pretty much, I mean, anything
that comes to mind. I mean, at that point, basically just be like, who's available? Like, and you'll probably start thinking of things, like I've definitely had instances where I had to, it wasn't really usually me being attacked. It was somebody I was with. So I had to do like a little spiritual battle for them in my own space and whatnot. But yeah, I find like you tend to come up with exactly who you need to call on at that point.
Yeah. Because again, they're always there.
Yes.
They're always there. And because they're also non-physical at that point, they can be there, and they can be in multiple places at one time.
Right.
So make sure that you stand in your power, use your high vibration words, call on the gods and goddesses, and Jesus and the saints, and whoever, like Joey's saying, like, whoever's coming to your mind, that's who you're supposed to be calling on. Any kind of angel,
higher self. Any avatar. Yeah. Any avatars. Anybody.
Your cosmic and galactic family come to protect you. Yeah. Betsy had asked to discuss the pendulum. Yeah. So that's awesome. Thank you. Yes, there are lots of tools that you can use to communicate with your guides. The pendulum, you can use, it's usually attached to a chain or a string, and there's a pointed object. You usually want it to be a weighted pointed object. A lot of pendulums are made of stones, but you can use them made of silver. You can use them as long as it's a weighted pointed object, and you're going to want to bless it, and you're going to want to like code it with the intention of it being a tool to help you communicate with your higher self or your guides, protect it by the light, sage it or palo santo it, consecrate it. Basically, you're going to want to consecrate it and bless it and give it the purpose of being a holy communicator, right? And so there's lots of ways to use the pendulum. There's so many ways to use the pendulum, and a lot of people will say, oh, it doesn't work, you're moving it. Of course there are going to be some people that don't use it properly, and so like, use your discretion on other people.
A lot of tools. I mean, you could do the I Ching, you could do the tarot, you could
there's lots of tools.
Just trying. Mm-hmm. So really, it's one of many tools that are typically referred to as divination tools.
Yeah. And so with the pendulum, you can what I like to do is I prop my arm up on something and hold it. And you can first, you want to make sure you ask it, show me yes, show me no, so that communication. and then you can ask it questions. And when you first start working with a divination tool, be gentle with yourself and be patient, because it might take some time to develop a relationship with it. Again, you have to develop relationships with it. And not everyone is able to use every divination tool. There might be one that you're really good at. And I started with the pendulum, and I used to love working with the pendulum. And you can also put it over a piece of paper, and hold it, and you make a circle and put it into sections, like yes, no, maybe, ask later, and ask it questions, and it'll circle around, or it'll go back and forth, and it'll pull towards one of the answers. That's one way to use it. You can use it to go over a person's body to see what direction the chakras are moving, and to see which one needs to be balanced, right? Because they're supposed to be going in the right direction. And so if it's going counterclockwise, then we want to balance out that chakra. You can do it to ask if someone is pregnant. We used this several times, a couple of times with me when I was pregnant, before I took the pregnancy test. And you can use it to speak to loved ones that have passed. You can use it, but again, be very careful, because if you do not protect your space, if you do not call in your light, if you do not consecrate your tools, you're just open to any kind of communication, then you can get some attachments, negative attachments. So the whole thing with any of these divination tools is to be very mindful of your intention, and cleansing your energy, cleanse your tool, cleanse it before, cleanse it after, cleanse you, cleanse your space. Like I can't express enough how absolutely very serious that is to do. And also to call again your energy back to you whenever you're done, because when you're working with divination tools, it blurs the veil, right? What's your favorite divination tool, Joey? What do you like?
It's changed a lot throughout my life. I mean, I definitely, I would say, I started, I guess, fairly simply, definitely pendulums, dowsing rods, lot of tarot decks. Holy crap, I've got so many. And then oracle decks, right? That aren't traditional tarot, but are oracle decks. A ton of those. Oh my goodness. I've experimented with the I Ching a little bit. It's a little complicated.
It's crazy complicated.
So I haven't quite got, into that. But scrying is a kind of interesting thing. And I've done, I haven't really done like crystal ball scrying, but my scrying, what I did was I took a picture frame and just had it black. And then actually took some like crushed crystal and stuff and put that behind. And so it created like a mirror effect.
Yeah.
A true mirror, right? So you can like look into it. It's a really neat scrying tool. I mean, I did a lot of like classes too when I did I studied under a high priestess for a while. She did shamanism and Wicca and paganism. So there was a lot of like cool crafty things we did too. So I was really lucky when I was, in my early teen years, I was able to do some cool stuff. So.
Cool. I had the opportunity to study with a high priestess, but they practiced Gardnerian paganism, and something just didn't feel right. And then in order to become a part of the coven, you had to have sex with the priest and priestess. And I just like, it didn't, I didn't feel safe, so I didn't do it.
Absolutely. I totally understand that. I mean, I was really lucky. She called herself an eclectic witch. And that's probably what I would refer to myself as, still today. It's just, and she had a really hardcore Native American.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was really helpful for me. So I enjoyed, she's my magical mama. I love her so much. She's one of my favorite people to this very day. I just, if anybody ever has the chance to find a spiritual mentor, my God, do it. The younger the better. But it's so, they say everybody needs therapy. Everybody needs spiritual therapy.
He needs spiritual therapy. Everybody. I'm so excited because I have a client that is 13 years old that booked a session, and I love working with children. They're so quick to shift. They're so much easier than adults. And yeah, I love working with kids, and I have another one that's 18, and then I've worked with one that was 13, 14. And of course being able to mentor my own children, which they're take it or leave it. They're kind of like over it because I'm I am who I am everywhere I go. And so they hear all of this stuff, but being able to teach them, spiritual practices and energy medicine, I would say like, I wouldn't say that I teach like divination tools. That's not but I teach people how to, manipulate their vibration, how to manifest what they want, and how to kind of get through life using vibration medicine is like my focus. But also, speaking of the pendulum, you can use your body as a pendulum.
Yes, right.
And this is part of what we do in Theta. And I'm not sure if there's a certain program active or not, or if there's a vow that's been active or not. We will muscle test. So kinesiology is the scientific side of using the body to dowse, or like dowsing is the pendulum. And so if you are curious about like, should I eat this thing? Should I talk to that person? Should I do this or that? You can use your body and it will respond. And there's a few different ways. If you have somebody with you, what you're going to want to do is you always stand with your feet hip width apart, facing forward. You want to be firm. You can hold out your stronger arm and you hold it straight out. And this was actually this is used in like the Lyme doctor that I go to, uses muscle testing to determine what bacteria is present in the body.
Yeah.
Cool. It was the first time I had seen it done. And then if you're too weak to do it, you can have a surrogate where you lay down, they put their hand on you, and then they put their arm out, and the practitioner will ask questions. And what you're going to do is, again, first you're going to say, show me yes. You always ask for any kind of pendulum work or dowsing work. Show me yes. And then you try to hold your arm really firm and then push it down, have somebody else push it down. And yes should be very firm and no should go down pretty easy, even though you're still trying to hold it out there, right? Like you're not letting your arm go down.
Right.
You're trying to hold it firm, and then it'll say no. So you can do it that way. That's easiest if you have somebody with you. If you don't have somebody with you, you can stand. You want to face north if possible, if you know what direction is north. If not, it doesn't like make or break it, but facing north is prime. Again, stand with your feet hip width apart, feet, straight forward. With this, you're going to be standing firm, but you're going to allow your body to sway if it wants to sway. And so you'll close your eyes, you take a deep breath, you show me yes. Your body most likely should move forward. You'll feel, just even if you don't move, you'll feel this like pull in the forward direction. No, we'll be rocking back. But I will say that there are some people, like I think Joey, where like yes might be, I can't remember specifically what yours are, but I remember yours are different. But like for some people, yes is like their neck dropping and rolling. No might be going sideways. So you just want to test it. That's why you want to say, show me yes, show me no.
And
Test
it'll change. It can change too. So that's why it's always good to test it every time.
And if it's backwards, right? If say you say, show me yes, and you fall backwards, that means your polarity is backwards. And so in that case, you're going to take one of the ways you can do it is take your palm and then you flip it and you do this a few times. And I know it sounds super simple, but it will reverse your polarity. And then you test it again. Show me yes, you should lean forward. Most of the times you would lean forward, and then no, you would fall back most of the time. But again, there are exceptions to the rule. So if you say yes and you get this every time, then that's your yes. If you say no and your hips go to the side, then that's your no, and trust how your body works. And then you can ask, like, you can take vitamins, right? And hold it to your heart and say, do I need this? Do I need to take this vitamin today? Is this vitamin in the highest and best good for me today? And your body will rock back and forth. You can do it with food. Is this, we even tested it with Micah, and I have a video on my YouTube somewhere where we were testing all different objects, and Micah tested no for carrots. So his body was saying, no, I don't need the vitamins in a carrot today, right? But testing it later, he tested yes. So you can test it for, should I hang out with this person? Is it in my highest and best good to have this person in my, circle? Like literally ask any yes or no question. Another way of dowsing, there's so many ways of dowsing. I love it. Is using your fingers. You're going to interlock them like this. You're going to keep them tight, but not, you don't want to you don't want your fingers to grow abs. Like, and then you're going to say, show me yes. And you pull. And then with the same amount of effort, show me no. And it should break. Again, if it's backwards, do this. You can also take a silver spoon if your polarity is reversed. Take a silver spoon on the bottoms of your feet and go in a figure eight, and that will reverse your polarity, but it has to be an actual silver spoon. Joey mentioned dowsing rods. Dowsing rods or witching rods, you can use sticks, honestly. Absolutely. That's what they used to do, back in the day. Mm-hmm. And basically then they would use it to find water. And so you can walk around, and when you are over water or for a yes, your sticks would cross or your rods would cross. I loaned my dowsing rods out to a client so that they could practice using them. So I don't have them. Maybe Joey went to go get her dowsing rods.
No, I don't know where they are right now. I think they might be in my storage unit, actually.
Oh yeah, I lent them to a client because I have a client that I know is supposed to be doing that work. So I was like, hey, spend some time with these dowsing rods. I can douse in all the other ways, but dowsing rods, I don't know.
I've had times where they've been super, super active and it was amazing. And then it's just goes dead.
Yeah. I was trying, the whole reason I got them and the reason why my guides say that they don't work is because I don't need a tool to communicate.
Yeah. So this is what I've really gotten to is I just don't really use tools much anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're training wheels.
They can be, yeah. They can be fun though. I mean, and sometimes you'll be called to use them, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I think especially when you kind of get to know them all and kind of get to know the vibe, you'll kind of be like, oh yeah, well that one felt like that one. Now I can do kind of that on my own, and
right. Kind of tarot is still the one that calls to me, but my spirit guides have been cheeky with even that sometimes, where I'll be wanting to know a question and I'll pull cards and the cards will be like, you need to listen to yourself, and and I'm like, come on, man, I just wanted an easy answer, and they're like, no, you have to lean on your own feelings, you know. Like,
Answer. Oh.
but I love doing tarot readings. We had a pretty rad tarot reading for you
Yeah.
that day. That was super cool. I like doing them at the end of a session. You know, usually that's where I feel called, because it's interesting to have done all this work talking about something and then to pull cards that say literally what we had just talked about.
Crazy confirmation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's confirmation. And when I use them as confirmation for something I already know,
Yeah.
I that's when they usually work best.
Yeah.
But when I am not using my own intuition to make my decisions, if I'm not listening to you know, the guidance of my spirit, then they tend to be a little wonky. And it's kind of hard for me to pull for myself sometimes. Another way, man, I feel like I could have a whole video on just how to communicate with guides.
Yeah.
Because another way, I'll wrap it up after this, but your guides, your own body, without rocking or whatever, this space.
Yeah.
And right here, right? That's your center of truth. And in order for this, you know, you kind of have to have a relationship with your body and have an awareness of your body. But if you are thinking something that is not true or not in alignment with the way your guides want you to view a situation, your guides will create a tightness or a heaviness or a butterfly or a kind of feeling in this. And when you're thinking something that's true, it'll feel like relief. It'll feel like lightness. It'll feel like ease. It'll feel like, or sometimes like bing, you know, like joy. And so this was a big thing I used to help me manifest and make sure that I was thinking thoughts that were in alignment with what I wanted instead of what I didn't want. And basically, anytime I was like talking to somebody, Joey, you and I were on a call one day doing a session. An example of this is like we're talking, and I say, I'm doing everything I can to align with manifesting Misfit Sanctuary. And my gut went, yeah, and I was like, oh, hold on a second. I just said something that wasn't true.
Yeah.
And like, and I remember stopping, even though it was your session, I was like, I'm going to do some work. Hold on. Like, I'm not doing everything. So it's easy. Like if you catch yourself saying something that's not true, that your body says is not true, the easiest thing is to say the opposite.
Yeah.
And work your way back from there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm doing everything I can to align with Misfit Sanctuary. And it was like, no. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing everything I can to align with Misfit Sanctuary. And then it was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, shit. Okay. Well, what do I need to do? And my guides were like, you're putting everybody before yourself again, and you're not doing your detoxing. And I was like, oh, in order for me to align with Misfit Sanctuary, I need to detox and put myself first. And it was like, ding. And I was like, okay, that's what my guides want me to be thinking. And you can use that in all kinds of cases. Like if you're saying, you know, oh, I think this person is mad at me, and you get this tightness, like that's not what your guides are wanting you to be thinking. Like, and then, you know, work your way into finding a thought that feels like relief. And I think I want to do a whole video just on that, because it's a process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So those are some tools. Let's see. I think it's quite thorough.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty great, covering a lot of different aspects of it.
Yeah. Talked about some fun ghost stories. Before we hop off, are there any other questions from anybody in the chat that has any more questions. Just I know the chat is 60 seconds behind, so I'll give you guys a minute to chat. What are we going to talk about next week?
Well, you just said you wanted to do a whole topic on, finding the thought that feels better.
Yeah. Okay, so next week we can talk about how to shift your vibration up, because that's basically what that's part of, is learning how to shift your vibration up. Because if in each moment, like if you think of it like a graph, right? If in each moment, say you start down here, you do the work to shift up, and then you do the work to shift up, and then you do the work to shift up, and then you do the work to shift up. What happens after a period of time of being present in the moment and choosing thoughts that bring relief is you get to look at the most recent past and see how much, like, oh, look at all this progress, and I feel better, and my life is better, and I'm getting a different reflection back, and I'm healthier, and like all of these things. So learning and understanding how to raise your vibration, I think, is a great topic, and in it we'll talk about that.
I love that.
Yeah. So okay, no more questions in the chat. So I'm gonna say we feel complete today.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, it has been awesome. Thank you for being here, Joey. I adore you. I'm so grateful that you're here, and I'm so proud of you for being on camera.
Yeah. Me too. Thanks.
This is proof of Joey's work that she's been doing internally. Like, I want to take a moment to kind of celebrate it, and not to embarrass you or anything for a moment, but you've had some blocks with being seen, and it's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did that really intense theta session. I mean, if you remember, and it was just like, what did I say? I said, I think I said, I'm ready to molt.
Yep. Yeah.
And it was after that I was like, oh, okay, I think I can be on camera.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It's
pretty beautiful. I mean, it's something that I've had a lot of opportunities of doing kind of live video stuff that I've just not taken, because I have this, there's two things that are in, well, there's probably more than that, but there's just the fear of being seen in general. And then there's my, my hypercritical, voice about my appearance, my internal voice that I've really had to, and I know we all have one of those, right? Like, lovely society will give it to us, or our upbringing, or ever all of it. But it's just, not being good enough to be on camera. That's huge. That's huge. So yeah, I can't say I'm willing to let goats star in my own show, right? But this way I'm like kind of hiding behind you still too, that, like, this is the Jessica show. I'm just along for the ride.
Come on, girl. Come on. I just think you're so bright and shiny, and I think it's so interesting, how it's so wild how, you're stunning and gorgeous, and yet we can still have these deep programs that are like, say, the complete opposite. I'm just so proud of you for the healing work that you're doing, and the hard work that you're putting into shifting your life. And I love being a witness to you doing this alchemy with yourself, and getting to hold space for that. And I'm just so proud of you, and I look forward to when it is the Joey show, and be there to support it 100% of the way. Yay. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining today. Thank you for being here. We deeply appreciate you. Thank you, Melinda and Betsy, for joining. And I don't know how long Property Solutions hung out, but thanks for popping in. And we will see you next week. We had been trying to start at noon, but it seems like 1 o'clock is
Seems like that's working out. Yeah.
so yeah.
Probably one-ish, but maybe noonish. So
Yeah, between noon and 1 Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back next week. We're dealing with ADHD, so flexibility is key.
we're celebrating our ADHD. So yeah.
This is a space where we are ADHD safe.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being here. And love you. Okay, I don't know. I'm watching the replay and we're still talking.
Absolutely. There's like 20 seconds that is, I don't know, we should just hold up like really cool flashcards or something.